Welcome everyone, and welcome back to the second session of the LoongArch Biweekly, our international edition. So once again, I'll kind of explain how this meeting works and what are some of the expectations. So before we start, this meeting is organized by Loongson Hobbyist Community, a third-party organization unaffiliated with Loongson Technology or any of the companies, entities, and institutions mentioned in this document. Please limit discussion to open information only. We will not answer questions for products and designs currently under development or testing. Please refrain from making political statements or commentary for the duration of the meeting. And finally, opinions expressed in these meetings are strictly of the individual speakers. And how this meeting works is basically that most of the upstream updates comes from the Chinese Biweekly, which took place last Sunday, with additional updates from the past few days, not 3 days, probably 4 days. If you would like to present, please contact me for permissions. My contacts are as follows. You may also just shout out in the group chats, and the presentations may be edited until the sessions begin. The presentations will be in English, but Russian translation and clarification is available, thanks to Anya, who is present in this meeting. We will also have a short Q&A after each segment. So if you would like to help in other languages, please also let us know. And finally, the meetings will be live streamed on YouTube and will be recorded and made available on YouTube, VK, and Bilibili. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the upstream development. And to start out today's biweekly, we'll have GCC, and Xiroyao will be presenting on it.
Hi everyone. Let's begin. In these 2 weeks, there are some fixes for GCC. The first one is from Zhou Qiankang, who is the main maintainer of Arch Linux for Loong. The issue is GCC 16.1. The build system of GCC 16.1 forgot to install a header added in the 16 cycle named CPU features.h. If you just compile normal programs with GCC, this header is not used. It's an internal header of GCC, but if you need to compile a GCC plugin, it's needed. So the lack of this file causes people unable to compile GCC plugins. So the issue is already fixed by Zhou Qiankang. On my side, the changes, these 2 changes are already mentioned on the last meeting. The spaceship operation and the logic operation optimization using and instruction already mentioned in the last meeting. They have been revised and merged. Another patch mentioned in the last meeting, the patch for the stack canary stack protection mechanism is backported to GCC 15.3. It will still needed to be backported to 14.4 and 13.5, but the work is still in progress. The R-bit expanders have been renamed to bit reverse expanders to adapt to the newly introduced built-in functions. Built-in bit reverse 8, 16, 32, and 64 in GCC 17. These built-ins are added for as it's named, reverse the bits in an integer. So they also added a standard expander name. This is bit reverse mode 2 to expand the built-in into machine instructions. On LoongArch, there are bitrev point D, bitrev point W, bitrev point 2H, and bitrev no twitch, bitref point 4b. They are under so these can be used for built-in bit reverse 64, 32, and 8. For bit reverse 16, we don't have an instruction, but it can be expanded to bit reverse in the full register length and followed by a shift. Now LoongArch, on LoongArch, those built-ins are expanded to optimized machine instructions sequences. There is also an issue discovered in GCC 16.1. It miscompiles the RAR decoding code from libarchive 3.8.7 on LoongArch. We found it's a targeted independent issue in the SCEV path. The SCEV path basically simulates how the variable changes in loops. For example, if a loop is for int I 等于 int I equals to 6, I greater than or equal to 0, I minus 2, the value can be 6, 4, or 2. But there's an issue in SCEV path. It misses a signed extension. So 642 is mistreated as 6, 260, or then 515. It missed a signed extension, so the values are wrong, and then the compiler believes the value is never smaller than 6, and then some incorrect optimization is performed. The fix has been merged and backported into GCC 16.2. Today, a new issue is reported from Chen Jiajie. He is a researcher in the microarchitecture and performance optimization. He found that in the SPIC CPU 2026, it's a newest release. The test stockfish rate is not fully optimized. A hot loop, which can be optimized to xv multiply wev point h point bu point b instruction and its cousins, like changing ev to od or changing h point bu point b to w point hu point w point hu point h. So this family of instructions, you can technically use these instructions to optimize the dot products of the sign extension of a vector and the zero extension of another. But it is not implemented in GCC yet. So I have drafted a patch, but it's undergoing regression test now, and it's not sent yet.
We will now move on to LLVM, and I'll give the microphone to Rui or Zenon.
Okay, for the past 2 weeks, Heihe, also known as Rui, backported one commit in the master branch to the LLVM 22 release branch, which is a revert of a new expansion for vector average operations that actually caused the miscompilation of vector average operations because it previously didn't consider the case when an element of the sum of the two vectors overflow in the corresponding element type, resulting in miscalculations. And it also fixed an issue where the stack frame containing any temporarily allocated compound value uh, which gets passed in directly as a pointer gets deallocated if function or call is marked as must tail, resulting in dangling references. Well, this is one of the uh, cleanups of the failovers resulting from the recent implementation of guaranteed tail call optimization. Well, this one's important for several languages like Rust or Zig, if I remember correctly. And this one, Hazohilit, also known as Shimizu Takuya, reported an ICE which could be triggered with vector half precision extension operations when LSX is enabled. Well, this issue has since been bisected, um, but a fix is yet to be written. I'd expect a fix to be worked on during this week or in the next week. Anyway, in the next session, this should be resolved. Yeah. So let's move on to Linux kernel. First, the platform support. Zhang Tianyang, he has revised his patch set for Loongson 3B or 3C 6000 interrupt redirect controllers to revision 12. And uh, in the KVM subsystem, Mobibo improved the interrupt injection and interrupt status fetching mechanisms. He has introduced the helper function, KVM vCPU sync interrupt, and removed the high overhead functions such as the vCPU load and vCPU put. This patch set is in its fourth revision. And Zheng Chi, I'm not sure which two Chinese characters exactly are, but anyway, they have added various missing slot locking logic for uh, this field in the EIO. Oh, sorry, missing an I here. Okay, the EIO extended I/O interrupt controller virtual extension device registration. But people pointed out that several other locks need to be considered as well. So I think they are working on further revision. Okay, next page. There are a couple of other fixes. Eric Biggers added the missing select crypto RNG statement in the kconfig entry of the Loongson SE RNG driver to fix build failures. Well, this one's actually a bit hairy because uh, the driver is currently leaning on the, I think, crypto engine, I think, subsystem and um, which means in its current shape, it's not hooking up to any subsystem, and it's useless. And this is obviously not the expected behavior, but uh, communication is still underway. Well, I don't know whether the device driver will simply be removed or not, but let's see. in the next session. And Bibo removed unnecessary timer interrupt injections when the software timer expires. This should lead to fewer wake-ups for the guest VM. And Wang Rui moved the KSLR logic into the EFI stub, mitigating memory segment overlaps between initRD and boot services or kernel. And Tiezhu fixed several problems in ftrace, kprobes, and the BPF subsystem. Finally, for the code cleanup and refactoring, Chen Huacai removed unused variables in the code to suppress compiler warnings, and Ethan Nelson Moore removed this unused folder LoongArch Crypto since the latest migration to lib/crypto folder. Okay, I think that's all for Linux kernel.
Okay, and now for Box64, let's move on to Liu Yang.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, for Box64, we have quite a lot to talk about. First, we released the second preview version for people to try out and testing. This release fixed recent problem that was preventing Steam games from launching. So we released that, but the rest of the changes is not included in this release. So for Wine support, we now have a syscall user dispatch emulation for Wine 11.5 and later. So we have also added Vulkan extension wrappers to support Wine 11.9, and we fixed the memory protection bug that appears in the Wine 11.9. We have added more library and function wrappers as well, like for SDL1, libgl, Vulkan, and others. Notably, we have added the SDL1 library wrappers for Box32, so a 32-bit Linux game called Sakonas can now run normally. So next, we have a deferred signals optimization. When signals happens in the critical sections, they are now recorded and replayed afterwards. Before this, we are relying on the slow Linux signal masking, but now we doing that ourselves, so the performance is better than before. We tested this on a 3B6000 processor. This gives a 60% speed up in the 1.11.9's Explorer startup time. Next page, please. So there are also code file caching improvements. We improved the file version logic. Basically, it now automatically generates a version stream based on the file content. So we can distinguish the valid caches from the invalid ones. Code cache loading has been optimized to skip the stale code blocks also. And we have fixed the bug where the kit CLI for the command line tool didn't correctly probe the emulated CPU extensions. We have also added code cache file compression support with the compression level 1 enabled by default. So for testing this, we tested the factorial startup time. So it stays the startup time stays largely the same with the compression on, but the code cache size shrinks from the 200 megabytes down to 50 megabytes. So we also enhanced the LRU caching mechanism by updating the time step on every cache hit. And for the dynamic, also known as the dynamic recompiler for the LoongArch, we optimized the ES implementation using the VPES algorithm from the OpenSSL. it speed up the encryption and decryption very well. For example, we saw at least a 5x increase in the decompression speed when testing with a 7-zip self-extracting archives. Next page, please. Okay, this is the main ones. We also there are several other fixes and improvements. First is we added the Python interpreter wrapper so that the function, the Python function platform.machine it returns exit 664 while the scripts runs under the native Python interpreter. We also added, we also optimized the add next function for the code discovery in the big block mode using a hash table. And we measured another 30% speed up in the OneExplorer startup time. We also fixed the decoding issue with the 666 instruction prefix in the Box64 interpreter. So we improved the handling of the illegal MOVNT instruction combinations. We fixed the bug where the 256 bit SIMD instructions could be incorrectly selected. So we also added support for the fast round equals 2 running mode. This is for the aligning with the ARM backends. The decoder now supports several 16-bit instructions also. We also fixed some edge cases in the calculation with several x87 instructions. We added the named symbol support for the TLS disk relocation. Next page. We fixed potential register conflicts between the native flags optimization and the trace mode. Still block management was refactored also, replacing with the old complex logic with a simpler first in, first out buffer for catching code blocks that are invalid. We added the profile for the Call of Duty 4, so this game can run up without any manual configuration. Okay, that's all for the Box64. Next, moving on to the Eden project. Eden is a focal user, so it's known as the Nintendo Switch emulator, and it's hosted on the Codeberg. We have bootstrapped the preliminary support for LoongArch. The first pull request has been submitted, and the next PR is ready to submit to. We plan to have a working version this year, but there is no promise because we can't control the review speed of the upstream. Finally, for the vector packet processing, also known as the VPP, it's a high-performance network package processing library, and I have added the LoongArch support to it. This is very useful for the networking applications and for something like the software routers, firewalls, and high-performance routers. Because it provides vector accelerated data processing. So this LoongArch port will be enable more applications as network backends. So if you are interested, please make use of this port and share your feedback. I will be working on the upstream work this week. It's like tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So that's all for the updates. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now let's move on to the other updates and community bounties or feature requests. And this time, let's try and have Yang Xinhui to have a go at reporting these to us.
Okay, let's begin with Elixir Best. Reported that the dep packages for LoongArch 64 from the Electern project cannot be installed on Debian 13 due to incompatible architecture names in the package metadata. They discovered that the packages shipped by packages are built on AOSC OS. And the upstream later stated that they will publish dep packages with both architecture name variants. And for the Eclipse Equinox project, BTM-CN reported that while porting it to the LoongArch 64 platform, the Tyco packaging tool cannot find the LoongArch 64 launcher fragments installed on the local repository, resulting in build failures. They also requested that the upstream clarify steps to add support for new architectures. Here we have Amazon that implemented LSX/LASX optimization for the MLDSA and MLKEM algorithm for the Chinese Shangmi, which means commercial cryptography. They implemented the optimization for this library written in Go. The implementation covers various polynomial operations such as basic calculations and NTT, adds new encoding and scheduling code and various code written in assembly language. And we have Nihui added support for handling 4-dimensional tensors to multiple operators in the NCNN inference framework. This implementation employs LSX and LASX to accelerate runtime performance. And now we have, I don't know how to read this name, but let's try Doroshe. They added new syscalls handling futexes, interval timers, and I/O and credentials to the anomaly kernel. Its syscall table has been updated for LoongArch 64. Next page, please. And now we have Gelb-Punkt implemented hardware-accelerated CRC32 operation for zlibRS. This is a zlib implementation in Rust, which utilizes the built-in CRC instructions in LoongArch 64. This implementation relies on inline assembly blocks instead of compiler intrinsics, as this feature is still considered unstable by Rust C, possibly in the foreseeable future. And the further std-arch, this module the enhancement of this module are planned. And they also fixed an issue where the missing on LoongArch 64 specific directory causes CMake build to fail when building zlib next gen for the zlib 6 crate. And we have NumPy 1314 fixed an error in QEMU LVZ, a fork of QEMU with LoongArch 64 virtualization extension support, where the flag bits accidentally gets involved in the physical address calculations in the LDDIR and LDPTE helper functions, resulting in errors during page table iteration. This fix has also been proposed in the RCore OS project. And NumPy 1314 also added a minimal support for bolting ARCE OS guests on LoongArch 64 to AXvisor, a Type 1 hypervisor, and also fixed various issues on page table flag bits, MMIO handling, and CI configuration. Updates QEMU LVZ to ensure that the guest behaves correctly. Next, we have Zhang Qin added conditional compilation logic for UNRS resolver, which excludes a flag STATX don't sync on the LoongArch 64 muscle platform, fixing the build failure where the flag is not exported by Rusty's on such platform. And we have this
nematode
added LoongArch specific optimizations to the Stockfish chess engine, utilizing inline assembly blocks to implement the bit reversal operations required in the hyperbola quintessence algorithm, speeding up the bitboard calculations. It also removes unnecessary typecast in the NNUE accumulator code. Next page, please. And we have ArrowD, who added support for LoongArch 64 to the snappy.java project, a snappy compression algorithm library written in Java, utilizing the doc cross toolchain to cross-compile the library, thus allowing the build system to produce native libraries for LoongArch 64. However, the upstream's LLVM-driven review discovered some outdated comments and function redeclarations in the helper script, requiring further improvements. And we have Yetist, who disabled LSX and LASX SIMD instruction generation for the LoongArch builds of the IPXE project. This project is a PXE network boot firmware implementation, also can be built as a EFI applications. So it's also available on possibly all architectures supported by EFI. And re-implemented TCP/IP checksum routines using handwritten assembly code, resulting in a 39 times performance increase. Additionally, after a review by the upstream maintainers, secure boot builds are also supported on LoongArch. The upstream maintainers hope that Loongson will clarify its approach to supporting UEFI secure boot in the future. Next page, please. And we have Zhai Xiaojun added on LoongArch support to the Go role set of Bazel. This is a build system commonly used by Android-related projects. And we have Leno 2.3 optimized the fast needs escaping function using LSX SIMD instructions for the SIMD JSON project, speeding up the detection of character escape sequences.
And that will conclude the other updates from the past 2 weeks. And before we move on to distro and operating system updates, do we have any questions? Any points for clarification?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Есть вопросы на русском?
Oh, what happened? Okay, let's move on. So for distro and OS updates, to begin, we have AOSC, who have released Core 13.2.0 to the stable repository, with backports of the stack protector enhancements from GCC 16.2 to GCC 15.2, and the THP-aware transparent huge page-aware low segment aligning patches from glibc 2.44 to glibc 2.42. The latter patch especially is expected to bring performance enhancements for code compilation or any sort of runtime workload that loads larger runtime libraries into the memory space. So real-world testing shows about a 2% CPU time reduction when building larger projects with LLVM. We have also backported 3 security fixes in glibc. Linux 7.0.9 has been made available for testing with backports of the refactor of the AMD GPU's kernel mode FPU context, preserving and storing code from Linux 7.1. Newer AMD GPUs such as the Radeon 9070 XT should now work. It also disables write combine, which caused various troubles with Intel and AMD graphics cards, such as artifacts, lockups, etc. And as a note, write combine has never worked correctly on LoongArch, so we would keep it disabled until the next generation, maybe. The Long GPU driver was updated from the Keylin 11 version to the EOS Desktop 25.1 version, which comes with a newer DKMS module source from March as opposed to January. So there may have been fixes, but details to which are unclear. But per our testing, MIPI displays, for example, now works on the Orange Pi Nova. And based on the changes in the code, we expect that there has been enhancements made to laptop platforms as well. The support for 4 kilobyte kernel pages is still broken. So if you would like to use, say, Box64 on these platforms, you are still kind of out of luck, especially on the 2K3000 platforms. The Haskell compiler GHC along with Pandoc are now available for the LoongArch repository. As a result of this, the Siyuan Note, a note organizer knowledge base software, is now available on LoongArch as well. Zotero 9.x, based on the Firefox 140 extended support release, is now available. And this also means that now that it's using a newer Firefox release, we can now support this package on LoongArch as well. So fellow students, researchers, and data holders can now make use of this software. And finally, 25 security updates were made in the past 2 weeks, and including 5 critical and 31 high-risk vulnerabilities, which are fixed as a result of these updates, including 2 local privilege escalation vulnerabilities targeting the Linux kernel, codenamed DirtyFrag and PinCeft, and also 7 high-severity fixes in the PostgreSQL 18, 17, 16, 15, and 14 branches. And finally, if you would like to join discussion on day-to-day AOSC development, or you have any questions that you want to discuss with us, you may join our Telegram group with the QR code to the right. And now, OpenWrt has also seen a little bit of work. Xinmu has submitted a backport of 3 kernel patches, adding support for the built-in Ethernet controller on the 2K3000 and 3B6000M SoC for their 6.12 kernel. This pull request has now been merged and will be included in the next OpenWrt release. So when possibly some of the 2K3000 and 3B6000M software router kind of hardware solutions come out, they can make use of OpenWrt out of the box. And now we have some news from Proxmox VE, and I'll give the floor to Wu Kaiyang, who is the staff of the community.
Hello, this is Kaiyang Wu, and in the past few weeks, I and Min Cong have been working on PVE port on LoongArch. It's a upstream facing port, and with patches tracking the latest upstream changes. It is now hosted on at the GitHub organization PV Long64 port. And this port is based on the Long13 project. It's a unofficial Debian port for LoongArch, Debian 13 port from Yaowan. And we have contacted the upstream, and we got some feedback from the upstream. So the upstream is positive about the effort, but has declined to include the port as an official port due to the lack of stable Debian releases. So as some of you may not know, that Debian is gonna include the official port of LoongArch in 14, so the next release. And also they say that they could not easily buy LoongArch devices in Europe due to lack of vendors. So for now, we will continue keep working on the port, and also keep track of the upstream updates. And we will also submit patches that will improve support for non-x86 architectures, as suggested by the upstream maintainer, Thomas. PV LoongArch port ISOs should be available in the near future, and we'll also have a website for the port soon released to provide downloads. Thank you.
All right, thank you to Kai Yang, and we're expecting more updates on this area in the next few weeks. And now, finally, we have Basalt, and I think we have Maxime to give a few words on this project.
It will be short today because nothing big really happened during last 2 weeks on our work. We are working on hardware manufacturer support, working in close contact with Trampoline Electronics, trying to solve issues with stability or firmware. There were some packets updated during these weeks. You can check if you're interested by the link. It's a huge packet base called Sisyphus, and we are working on adapting it to LoongArch. Majority of our work concentrated on internal infrastructure, build infrastructure setup. We moved to Irtish and building nightly builds on Irtish-based servers now. It's a significant mark for us and Trampoline, I believe. And the last part is that we are concentrating on releasing stable products for LoongArch. Right now, we don't have official Basalt products based on this architecture, and our main products server and workstation is ready for functional testing. I believe I will update on its results on next meeting. That's it for today.
All right, thank you, Maxim. So for community news and events, first of all, we have a recap of the first session, and thank you everyone for joining our first international LoongArch Biweekly, and we are very delighted to see more than 50 people attending the first session. And we were happy to have a few friends from Trampoline Electronics who offered very active help for the first session. For instance, Mia, who is an UEFI engineer, firmware engineer at that company. She shares some UEFI debugging and troubleshooting techniques. And a few other friends from Trampoline also supported us with Russian translation for the slides and also live support for Q&A. They also made a recording with Russian slides as well, which will be posted on VK shortly. And we have also set up our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@longfence, and we encourage that you subscribe to it. So there will be recordings of bi-weekly meetings and possibly sneak peeks and new products and other software projects as well. And for at our next next meeting, ptitSeb, founder and maintainer of Box64, will give a presentation on his project. So if you're interested in the topic of binary translation, x86 emulation, and basically how you run games and very complex multimedia applications on a non-native platform, we encourage that you join us in 2 weeks, and you will see him giving a detailed presentation on his project. So that will be all for this session's content. If you have any sort of question, now will be the time to raise it. I don't know what is happening here, but let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. Do we have any questions anywhere? Okay.
Есть у кого-то вопросы?
Okay, so there is a question from the Tencent side. Or unless it's not, it's here. So are Alt-Linux build logs for LoongArch public? Maybe Maxim can give an answer to this question.
Can you repeat, please, the question?
So the build logs for the Alt-Linux builds for LoongArch, like basically the record of all package builds, are they available for the public?
Not now, but it will be available when we got some stable releases.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions? Okay, if not, we'll continue moving on, and basically our next meeting and basically the future meetings from this point on will all take place on Thursday. So the next meeting will be on June 11th. And so thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you in about 2 weeks. And if you would like to join our Telegram group or the Discord server, please feel free to do so by scanning the code on the screen now. And thanks again everyone for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks.